Brian White, it is a big argument taking place among friends of mine on X as to the capabilities of Optimus. And I don't know if you participated in that. I don't remember whether you were the ones who jumped in or not, but I think it started with Warren Redlick. And somebody said, hey, wouldn't it be possible for Optimus to drive the car?
Hmm.
So if you don't have FSD, I don't know what their purpose was, but like you don't have FSD, then we'll just have Optimus drive it for me. And Warren said, no, that will never happen. And it was so un-Warren-like,
Mm.
because Warren Redlick is always like, no, there'll be a billion
Hmm.
Optimi driving vehicles soon. So it was like the opposite of Warren. It was kind of lawyer-like, right? Lawyers,
Hmm.
they're supposed to say no. That's the first word out of their mouth is always no.
The big thing with lawyers I found is that they, like everyone, insist on being right. But the difference is they don't want to be factually right. They want to be arguably right.
Arguably.
Which, when you have a guilty client or a party that knows they're overstepping, is important. You need to be arguably right, and that's something that I guess is part of it's the training. It just soaks in. So Optimus can do everything. Now you could say, well, Optimus could do LLM training. You go, no, that's dumb. Let it be done back at home at headquarters. Right. Well, I don't have a headquarters, but I do have an Optimus and it has the same chips in it. It can do anything.
Right.
So can it do anything? What possible use is there for Optimus to know how to drive a vehicle? Well, tractors, the vast majority are not self-driving. If we do
Vast.
not have a farmhand who can operate a tractor safely, but we got an Optimist that can, there's your answer. That's a
How about forget safely? I can't even find any farmhands. And it's
well,
not just,
that's what, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's not even just the tractors, it's the harvesters and all the other farm equipment out there would be an obvious place for Optimus to be able to drive.
Um, there's machines that automatically dip and remove the French fries. Yes, but I don't have one, or it's broken. Should my Optimus not know how to dip fries? It's a terrible use of something that valuable. But if it's the use that I have, then today it is very valuable. I'm with you on that one. Uh, a lot of the demos you see for bots, people say, what use do I have for this? You look at Boston Dynamics with their parkour robot,
Yes.
and it's easy to criticize that. It's a great proof of concept. If you have the dexterity to do parkour, hopefully you can walk up broken terrain.
Yes.
I would have preferred to see them walk up
Okay.
broken terrain, but I'm confident it would be just littered with whatever color paint the robot is. So I don't think that would necessarily do the trick. And then you see it walk, and then you say, oh, it ends with it walking out into the world. And you notice there's QR codes on every surface of that place because it doesn't have a brain. So that's unfortunate. I think that's a scarecrow issue.
Yeah, it might be, yes, as opposed to the robot. So, all right. So let's go back to the driving thing then. I think we could, if we delved into that, it would be a very complex task for
Hmm.
Optimus to be able to drive compared to, let's say, putting something from the table into a box, which is the one that we see over and over again. But I don't think there'd be any reason why it wouldn't be able to do that. And we do know that DARPA is currently trying to come up with autonomous ways to run every single military piece of equipment. And so, in some cases where that might be easier to put a robot in instead of having the onboard equipment do it, then it might be that might be a way to go.
There are a variety of reasons you would want this. And you do want, it's great. Oh, I've got this amazing remote controlled item. Yeah. The first thing the enemy does is disable communications, and now you've got nothing. If it's autonomous, if once you release it, it's going. That removes a very large obstacle. But forget about the military side. Let's just talk about the farm. If all of your equipment is running on 5G and there's a tower outage and you look out the window and you see your entire farm just stopped, you'd be like, what now? What's going on? That's not good. You want it to continue running autonomously. And for a robot to be able to handle a variety of tasks offline is helpful. Now, we did see the video of the Optimus doing Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a fan of putting the Terminator thought in people's heads. And plenty of people pointed out, what application does this have in the real world? James Stevenson correctly said, Hollywood stunts.
Mm,
Do you know how much money you pay for stunts in Hollywood?
yeah, yeah,
What if you could do even more radical, not death defying, because death is not something robots encounter.
right.
You could do any stunt imaginable. And if these cost $50,000, that's nothing in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So right there, you've got some opportunities. And the last thing I will say is, and Carl Douglas, I think, said this best, everybody was kung fu fighting.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. So I think there was multiple things that came to my mind when I was watching the kung fu version. Number one is I think that Optimus in the home, actually Optimus in the home are in the business. One of its best and most important jobs is going to be as a tutor coach. I don't mean coaching tutors, but I mean it's tutoring slash and coaching, training, teaching, whatever you want to call it. And so, do I want to stand there with my 12-year-old son playing catch for 7 hours? Can I even afford the time? But if my robot can play catch with my son for 7 hours, then he's going to be a much better baseball player or football, whatever he's playing catch with. And same thing with Kung Fu. If he can practice with the robot and the robot says, "Wait, stop. Did you see what you did wrong there?" I mean, it's going to be incredible.
I would compare it to a batting coach. I would love to be my son's batting coach. My son doesn't play baseball, but if he did, but I can't give you any advice on your swing. That is not a skill that I possess. And I checked, I can't download it. So that's not within my wheelhouse.
Back of your
Yeah,
backyard.
there are. The question is, well, but it's not very good at whatever. It's not very good at driving. I don't care. It doesn't have to be very good. Uh, there are tasks at which it will be very good. As a math tutor, it would be exceptional because that's just something machines do well. But if you look at the things that it can kind of do, great. Could a Optimus teleoperate a less sophisticated robot? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. If you're talking like Fukushima cleanup and you've got an Optimus, but also a $5,000, Chinese knockoff robot, let Optimus teleoperate it from outside. He's still
2,700
getting
of them.
some radiation, but he's saving money by destroying the little robot instead.
Yeah, okay. And so the other thing that came to my mind was somebody managed to slow the video down. I'm sure there's really good techniques for that. And and his conclusion, and I think he was right, because even at full speed, that's how it looked to me, is that the bot was responding to the gesture. In other words, it wasn't doing the kung fu move and the human responding to it. It was the opposite. The human would do the move and the robot would respond. So what we were seeing there was this interactivity, which months and months and months ago, we were, talking about this ability for humans to act, for the robots to act in human space, to be able to be co-botting with humans, and that this is Scott Walter would talk about this all the time, how important it was for this to be the case. So to me, if that was true, and it was actually responding, in other words, visually seeing the human make a move and then moving to block it, that would be evidence that it's doing a good job of co-botting.
All seems reasonable to me. I haven't watched it close enough. I did see someone say, boy, this looks just like the scene in The Matrix
Oh,
when when Neo first is doing Kung Fu. If that's the case, it's choreographed. So I don't know if that was the case. It could be either way. Uh, Tesla does things different. Tesla thinks of things in ways that others do not. And I'm, and you, oh, you must love Elon. I didn't say Elon, I said Tesla.
I love you.
Tesla has brilliant engineers. I've met a whole bunch of them. And if you'd like to see them on camera, me too. But that's not something they're permitted to do. While I have fans at Tesla, I don't have fans in the correct departments. So if you look at just an example of this, we just saw the side by side crash testing moderate overlap of the Cybertruck versus the Ford F-150. And if you look at it at a glance, even though it's in slow motion, you go, boy, they performed about the same. Well, they didn't get the same score. The Cybertruck got a higher score. But go back and watch it again because there's something else the Cybertruck did different from the F-150. The airbags deployed sooner.
Mm.
How's that possible? I mean, you have to hit an object for the airbags to go off, right? Not
Oh,
if you have enough cameras.
yes, it is.
Not if the cameras say, oh, this collision is happening in 30 milliseconds. Deploy.
And we know what the power is going to be, and we know which
We
direction it's coming from. And
I've done the math.
yeah,
This is the correct time at which to deploy the airbags. Let's deploy them. So
now,
it's Tesla's doing things differently. And I've seen a lot of people say, don't bet against Elon. That's too easy. That's too easy. Uh, very few people bet against Elon, and they are millionaires. I mean, they used to be billionaires, but that's because they bet against Elon. It's not enough to not bet against him. You need to bet with him. When you see him make a bet, people who've gotten very, very rich, people who started rich and got richer, have been betting with him. If Elon has started a company tomorrow making anything,
yes.
whatever it may be, I would be interested in investing. I don't know what that company is. You haven't told me yet,
I haven't.
but
I haven't. I've made some suggestions, but I'm hoping they're all within the Tesla environment, like the solar gigafactory, and the drone factory, and the HVAC factory. I mean, these are three things that I would love to see Elon do.
the
Everybody,
H factory,
the H factory, yes,
yeah,
that's
I'll
good.
take credit for that one. I'm sure no one's
You should write
stooped
that
to
down.
that level just yet. Uh,
Yeah, because I know that my HVAC is not going to last forever here. I've lived here for 9 years, and it's been I know it wasn't new when I moved in, so I know the time is coming when I'm going to replace it. I would much rather replace it with Elon's vision from what was that, 5, 6 years ago?
I will say that the HVAC that I see, the possibilities that I see are not for you and me because we own existing buildings. They're for new buildings because it requires a day zero rethink. That's why if you look at the thermal management system at Giga Texas, those giant uh, cooling towers you see, that's part of their octavalve. The
Mhm.
whole building is an octavalve. The amount of heat that comes off that data center is other-earthly, and it is now used to heat 9 million square feet of factory space. It makes it reasonably warm. I mean, you wouldn't heat that kind of space except to the bare minimum. And in Texas, it does get cold enough that the heat would kick on in the winter.
Sure.
No more. None of that. The heating bill for that building has dropped to zero. There may be a cooling bill in the summer for some areas, but most of the building is sufficiently far from the outside walls. It's all concrete. It's not going to get too hot. So they're going to, yeah, I think it would be for new construction, but primarily for industrial use. I don't see a way to revolutionize within existing ductwork.
I see. Okay, I was not so worried about the ductwork. It was the combination of the hot water heater with the
Oh,
with the HVAC, both heating and cooling and hot water, all in one location. Plus, my view of it or vision of it is that the hot water would always be hot. It wouldn't be as much of an up and down on the thermostat. I've always thought I might want to have one of those flash heaters
hmm.
because we have a fairly big distance between the hot water heater and our master bath. And
Mm.
it's like, okay, I'm going to spend more time waiting for the hot water than I am for doing the shower here. So this sounds like it might solve some of those issues.
That is one way to solve them. My house has a different solution for reasons I can't wrap my head around. My house has two water heaters,
Oh, yeah, there you
and
go.
they're only about 15 feet apart, but one serves one side of the house and the other serves the other. One serves, as far as I can tell, two showers and two sinks. So that's great. That's great. Just keeping that hot all
That's
year.
nice. That's nice. I like it. All right, let's see. Back to the Kung Fu movie, the Kung Fu video.
Yeah.
There was one other aspect of it, and that was that the bot was moving pretty quickly. It wasn't quite up to human speed, certainly not faster than human speed yet, but the moves that it was making were pretty quick and very smooth.
That wasn't even V3. I'm
Yes,
confident.
not
We
V3.
will not see V3 until it's go time.
Yes.
So what we're looking at is 2.6, maybe 7. I don't know. No way of knowing which 2 dot, but it is a version 2. And that's how good it is. And you know that there are people whose job it is to do actuators for fingers.
Right.
Just dial this in. There, everyone has a department, a specialty. And I'm confident that, like with all things Tesla, they're not siloed so that they can go talk to other people. I know from people I've spoken with on the team that their iteration process is lightning fast. They'll say, this thing doesn't work. How do we fix it? And they'll have a round table with all the important people, and they'll come up with 3 ideas. These are the 3 we settle on. I don't know which one's going to work. And by the end of the day, they've already got the 3 prototypes to test. It goes. Let's do it. So
Well,
to the
there is one more company that I know you want to invest in if Tesla does it, and that would be if or Elon if he does it, that would be a phone. And I did see a post. I paid no attention to it. I saw the headline, but I'm figuring that maybe you'll know what the heck it was saying. It was something about reverse engineering the Android. Did you see that post?
no, I didn't see that. I take none of the phone things seriously. Phones are very low margin. Phones are not ripe for disruption. Ripe for disruption is where Tesla focuses. The when we were at the diner, I was there with Kelly and Bert from the Michigan Club, and Simon was there. Anyway, we sat down next to this gentleman and his girlfriend, and he said, "Yeah, I just invested in Tesla." We're like, "Wow, congratulations." He goes, "Yeah, I'm excited about the phone." And we're like, "Oh, this was clickbait from a couple years ago that got out of hand."
Well, that reminds me, though, you and I have talked a little bit, and I've talked to Brian Wang also about the solar factory, the solar gigafactory. Both of you are kind of negative on it, thinking that there's, very little chance of massive improvements that would drop the cost down. According to a book called AI Rising,
Hmm.
how to thrive in the coming in the age of abundance. That book, I was reading it last night. I know it's not on the market yet. Oh yeah, it's my book and your book. There was a chapter there. It says that that we're seeing continuing drops in the cost of solar panels, very continuing dramatic drops, with evidence that there could be even greater substantial drops.
So what's going on with solar? Let's say you could build a factory today in the US that makes panels, not in a revolutionary way, but just as cheap as the ones in China. Why couldn't you? It's a lights out kind of factory. The lower labor cost isn't going to be the saving grace. So there's price parity there. Uh, you can't. You can't make it as cheap as China. These are incredibly sophisticated factories. This is chip fab level engineering. There was a solar company that actually moved into a uh, disused chip fab because it had the kind of equipment they needed. Uh, making them at all, not in a revolutionary way, breathtakingly difficult. Takes a lot of time to get it up and running. Cost reductions are likely a result of longer running equipment. You know, when you first release your chip, it's $50 or $500, and pretty soon you're selling it for $3 because the machine's just running. And until the mold breaks, there's no reason to discontinue it until the building accidentally burns down, as it did in Taiwan a while back. Maybe 4 years ago, there was a fire that wiped out the fab for a bunch of chips. Automaker said, I need my
Yeah,
microcontrollers. When are
yeah,
they coming back?
yeah.
And they said, they're not, unless you want to pay $50 again to cover the upfront cost.
Yeah.
So it's likely that, and the number I saw yesterday was that uh, steel is now the most expensive part of any solar installation.
Interesting.
So that's breathtaking. So it's likely that there's no more disruption to be had. It would take years to come online. And if we've learned anything from the 4680 saga, it's that throwing money at a problem is not enough to solve it. It takes a combination of factors, the right people, the right approach, the right technology. And Tesla's really struggling with the 4680s.
Apparently.
I'm prepared to declare the entire project a failure at this point because it didn't deliver on any of the promises. Maybe the cost reduction's there, but if it is, why is the Cybertruck so gosh darn expensive? Why not just put a bigger battery in it if the batteries are so cheap and plentiful? Um, I think solar would be tricky. Doesn't mean Tesla can't get into solar energy. Tesla's got some great land available. I mean, they own thousands of acres surrounding Giga Nevada. That's prime space for solar panels. Uh, there's just a lot of reasons that you would want to do that everywhere you can. Texas, I wouldn't put up panels because we don't know which pieces of land are going to be built on next. But in Nevada, we know they're not building on the hills. Start there.
Start there.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
we've got a few hills in Riverside here that could be covered with panels. All right, Brian, I think we've covered what I wanted to cover on Optimus. And so there, and the conclusion is yes, Optimus can drive or will be able to at some point if that becomes a use case that people want to purchase it or lease it for. So the future will see funny little robots driving tractors. That's the conclusion of the show.
that's that's the conclusion. It's Tuesday as this goes out. On
Yes.
Thursday at Dick Hannon Nissan in Portland, the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association is holding a meeting at 7 p.m. Come join us. We will have the sales folks there, freshly trained on the new Nissan Leaf. You can find out all about it, take it for a spin, and go, uh,
Uh,
uh, it's a great car. It is not a robot.
Okay. All right, Brian. Follow him over on the FutureAza channels, wherever they are. And if you go over on his channel, uh, it'll probably also mention that he's going to be, I don't know, in Michigan, and then he's going to be in Florida, and then he's going to be in Texas, and then he's going to be, who knows.
Right?
By the end of the year, we might be looking at, more foreign countries. Anything's possible.
Anything's possible.
It's been great talking to you.